Welcome back to another video. My name is Alec Tucker and I'm an Oregon landscape photographer. And today I'm going to be sharing my 2-button workflow for focus stacking using actions in Photoshop. So now that we have Lightroom open and we have all our photos lined out, the red are our focus stacked images. So you can see this image is for the foreground, this image is for the midground, and then this image is for the background. So what we can do with focus stacking is we'll combine these 3 layers and have Photoshop basically auto-calculate the sharpest elements of each photo and then stitch them together into one image. And I have this set up so it's super easy. It takes a matter of no time because all of a sudden when you're doing this for multiple images or this is something that I do all the time, I don't want it to be super time consuming. So I built actions to speed up the workflow. If we shift click on our 3 photos, I have a custom shortcut set up. So if I click Command O, it'll open them as layers in Photoshop rather than having to go through the dialog boxes. It just speeds it up a little bit. To the frame. Okay, so now that we have our 3 photos in Photoshop, I'm gonna go ahead and name these just for reference. So we have our foreground, our mid, and then our back. You don't have to do this. I'm just doing it just for reference. So the first step and the first button that I usually click is auto align, and I use the auto align feature on almost all of my editing and post-production work. Whether I'm stitching images for a time blend or I'm doing something like this for focus stacking, it's something I do all the time. There's slight movement whether you use a tripod or not. I mean, for example, I'm shooting in water here, so there probably was a little movement on the leg of the tripod that maybe shifted over a tad, something that you wouldn't notice, but it would make a difference when you go to stitch these together. So what we'll do here is we'll just click that layer, and I have on my tablet here, I have customs, so I have shortcuts with all these. So auto line would be F1, focus stack F2, and then flatten them would be F3. And you can change these to whatever you want. It's kind of just a preference thing. But I do have my tablet, since I use auto align a lot, I do have my tablet set up. So all I gotta do is click this and it'll auto align them. And as you can see, there's just a slight hairline. So there was a teeny bit of movement that Photoshop just fixed. So now when we go to blend them, there won't be any weird artifacts or ghosting on the edge of things that look funny. Everything should be completely lined up now. So what we want to do is we can just click that layer again, and then we can go to the next step, which is actually focus stacking the image. And traditionally, you'd come up here, you'd go to edit, you'd go to auto blend, and then you'd click about 3 more boxes. I have this set up so it's just one more click and then it does it. So if I hit F2, Photoshop will select all those layers, it'll auto blend it and focus stack it for you in a matter of 1 button, which is really nice. So as you can see, it took the sharpest parts of each image. So the foreground, the white reveals, black conceals. So if we go here, you can kind of have a reference. It took the foreground of the image, which is accurate. And then same goes for the mid and then the background. So if we just toggle these on, you can see we start with the background layer. Then we go to the mid where this stuff is more in focus. And then we go to the foreground. So now we should have a completely sharp image that Photoshop stacked for us. Looks pretty good. And you can always, like, if something was super intricate and you really wanted to kind of hand adjust things, you can go in here, just set your defaults, and then what I could do is have my white brush here, and I could technically go in here and I could brush all of this, and as you can see, it's exposing the layer that does fall. The focus did fall on this one because it was for the foreground, but just for an example, you can see you can go in and paint it. So all of a sudden, if Photoshop missed a certain part that you really wanted to fix, this is non-destructive editing, so I can go in here and I can adjust anything I want, which is nice. before I flatten the layers, I usually go in and make sure everything looks right, all the edges are fine, and then the last button I can click is just F3, and it'll flatten them, combine them, flatten them, and then I can click Command Save, Command S. I can go back and do Lightroom, and we should have our blended layer just like that. So it's a pretty quick process. I tried to streamline it as easy as possible because when I'm doing a lot of these, it's kind of tedious and it's not the most fun thing in the world. So I do have these actions available for download if you want to download them for free. They didn't take me super long to make, but they are very helpful if you want to save some time in making them. You can go ahead and click the link in the description and feel free to download them and play around with it. Actions are a super powerful thing, and you can do a lot with them. And I've discovered that, and I've started discovering that. So there probably will be more things that I do release and things that I work on. So I think that's it. I appreciate you guys watching, and I hope you learned something. Cheers.